Hey guys, ArchieLuxury on the Paul Pluta channel. Today I'm doing a paid review. This is for Ben. This is paid review 21QA88. And this is a collection review. Before we start this, what am I wearing today? What wristwatch am I wearing? I'm wearing my Z Blue Milgauss. Okay, let's jump in to this review. Pontiff, humbly requesting your counsel. 100 US has been sent to your PayPal account. Background, I'm a 47-year-old male, married with children. 10 years ago, I left Wall Street investment banking, but continued to work in the financial industry in Dallas and in New York. I stumbled upon your YouTube channel 15 months ago when I was bedridden after ankle surgery. As soon as I could walk again, I started my collection, and your channel has been an entertaining guide through rehab until today. His approach, I am doing my best to limit myself to 5 quality pieces because I fear things could spiral out of control if I let loose. My theme is diversity, so aspiring to have one watch per brand, complication, and even dial color, because I'd like to have some money left over for retirement. The backbone of my collection is what I like to think of as the two-tier trinity, TTT, consisting of Omega, Rolex, Omega, and Breitling. Everything came with box papers, though the bracelets have been put aside because I'm too mentally fragile to handle the scratching. See photos attached. The additional 50 is for ignoring the second row, which are placeholders of sentimental value, which I could replace if I have a midlife crisis and decide to take the collection up a notch. Okie dokie, yes. I must say, they are pretty despicable pieces. My God, they are pretty despicable placeholders. Yes, I totally agree with the sentiment. Okay, the collection from left to right. Collection number 1, we got a chronograph, a Breitling Navi timer, AB120, in-house movement, the last of the winged logos. Your George Kern takedown is an all-time favorite video of mine. Certainly glad to have box papers. Number 2, he's got a Omega, from right to left, sorry. Omega Seamaster 2220.80.00. Would have been nice to have the man on the moon representing Omega. Yes, I totally agree. But then I would probably need to go with the Breitling Heritage 2 as the diver. Yes. Which I felt was an inferior proposition overall, since the Navi timer is such a striking icon. Number three, we've got a Rolex GMT Master 2 1167 LN. Yep. Everyone has the classic Submariner. This felt like the perfect way to stand out while retaining most of that aesthetics. I have to say that even after servicing, the crown action on this is a little suspect, but still a favorite. Number 4, Vintage Day Date. Omega Geneve. This is a birth year watch. Yes, another Omega, but rules were meant to be broken, as you say. Omega was nice enough to replace the dial when they sent it for servicing in Bien, despite my explicit instructions not to do so. At least they gave me the old parts. My father bought one of these when I was born. I actually broke it as a baby and look forward to giving him this watch to keep all these years later. This is the first watch I bought, yes. And then number 5, we've got a dress, precious metal, a Sterling Celestia 898.01. Yes, I know this is what I am writing about. This is a temporary test watch and has already taught me that perpetual calendars are a hassle to set and almost impossible to read. This would be the Grail and Cornerstone. So filling this slot is going to hurt. I'm not, and I am taking my time on it. He's got a question. Okay, question here we've got is, for the dress watch, I'm thinking of a rose gold piece. Perhaps commemorate my retirement with a Grand Lang A1 moon phase or a Patek 3940R or a iconic Cartier tank to hold me in the interim until I trade up. But this seems a bit reckless. Maybe I should go for the quintessential dress watch, the Patek 5196R, which has an elegant slimness but is bereft of any advanced features and hides the movement. Alternatively, I'm also thinking of going for a splash of color with a 6 additional brand like the cherry red dial on the Grand Seiko Heritage SBGH 269. What do you think is missing in the collection? Any suggesting any changes? Thanks for the entertainment and keep your head up, Ben. Well, Ben, thank you so much there. I gotta tell you, firstly, let me give you some advice here. Yeah, thank you. Let's ignore the bottom row because that is pretty well garbage. I totally agree with your verdict on that. Now, having a look here, having a look. I gotta tell you, honestly, it's, I think I'd put the bracelets back on these pieces. To be honest with you, when I see your GMT black with the NATO, I'd put it on the bracelet. You know what? It's like you've been in Wall Street, you're selling investment products to an old couple, and you go into their home to sign the documents, you've closed the deal, and they've still got plastic on the couch, and you feel like saying, guys, what's with the plastic on the couch? And that's how I feel about what you're doing. You know what? Just enjoy it. You're 47 years old. It's time to enjoy your stuff. Don't worry about trying to preserve this stuff as museum pieces. These aren't that... they're a nice watch collection, but let's be honest there. It's a nice collection, but it's nothing extraordinary, okay? So, what do I think you should do? Okay, so I put the straps, the bracelets, and the original straps on. You know what? We're here. It's like buying a Porsche and then putting secondhand Kumo tires on to save money. It's just not cool. So now let's have a look at them. The Breitling. What do I think of the Breitling? You know what? The Breitling itself there, I kind of have a soft spot. Now, I don't know whether you've got the bracelet or not. I had a Breitling old Navy Timer 2, and I had a bracelet. I loved the bracelet on it. It was beautifully done, shiny. Yeah, okay, I get that the Breitling's a good, iconic, classic watch. Yes. Yes, indeed. The Omega Seamaster. The Omega Seamaster kind of lets me down a little. It's okay. It's actually an... Now, is that an original Omega strap? It looks like it could be. Or did it come with the bracelet as well? But, yeah, okay, the Omega kind of... Then we've got the Rolex. Put the Rolex back on the bracelet. Put it on, put it on, put it on. Yeah, I like the GMT Master. The vintage Day-Date Geneve, give it to your dad, okay? Those Omegas there, they're very hard. Not many people like them. They're a bit small. They weren't the greatest. No, they were okay. They were a great price point at the time. Give it to your dad. 100. Don't hold out. Say, here, Dad. Here you go. And then the sterling, I hate it. I really hate it. It's very dubious, you know. It is very dubious. So what would I do then? Okay, we want to bring it up a notch. You know what I would do? I would say to you, I would look at adding quality. No more garbage. You know what I would do? So get rid of the Omega day date for you. Give that to your dad, and get rid of that sterling. I would be saying, okay, now I don't know, a Grand Lange moon phase. Look, I got to be totally honest with you. You talk the talk. I'm just a bit worried with the walk. I get the feeling you've got a nice couple of pieces, but it's not Mr. Hedge Fund Manager collection. This is very, how do I put this politely without offending you? It's not the greatest collection. We want to bring it up a notch. I don't get the feeling we're looking at your collection that money's no object. I think money is quite sensitive to you. My advice to you, I think in Lange 1, I think the Lange 1 is a superb watch. I don't think it matters whether you get white gold, rose gold, or yellow gold. I'd be getting one of the first iterations, because they're 38.5 mil, and they're a bit of a bargain. I reckon that's what I would go for. The moon phase 1, that is actually quite expensive. You're actually going to pay considerably more money to get the moon phase, and I don't want to be rude or out of place, but I don't get the feeling that you're super minted. I think you're okay. You've got some nice pieces, but I think, how do I phrase this? I get the feeling you're a value shopper. Okay, I'm a value shopper. It takes one to know one. I reckon get the Lange 1 would be fine, but the moon phase variant is very expensive. Just get a standard Lange 1. The 3940R, now for starters, 3940s, there's a lot more yellow gold ones, okay? Because these came out in the 80s and yellow gold. So I don't think you can really stipulate your metal choice, okay? I don't think it quite works like that. That's actually quite a... Again, being a value shopper, you probably want good bang per buck. I'd be looking 3940. They're expensive. They are expensive. They're expensive. Why does it need to be a 3940? I tell you what I would do if I were you. You know what I would do? I reckon I'd be looking at a 5035. That's what I've got. I got a yellow gold one. And there's an annual calendar. That's kind of the sister watch to the 3940. A hell of a lot cheaper. And it's an annual calendar, which means you need to set it, adjust it once a year if it's kept wound. So I reckon that is what I'd be doing. Cartier tank, Louis Cartier, forget that. Cartier's lost its way. I'd forget that. And they're a bit small. I would say a 5196. Okay, now in the 5196s, the most common metal is actually white gold, followed by rose, followed by yellow. I've got a yellow. I think a 5196 in rose would be beautiful. I don't think it matters rose or white gold or yellow. But I'd say for you, yep, that's a great watch. So I reckon instead of setting really expensive goals, instead of getting a 3940, get a 5035. Okay, and I would say 5196. Yes, I'd get one of those. No problems at all. That is a beautiful piece. The Grand Seiko, forget it. Forget Grand Seiko. We've got to bring this collection up. It's already a bit mediocre. So definitely, I would say to you, 100%, let's bring it up, not bring it down. So that's what I would be doing. I'm not trying to have a go at you. I love your, thank you for this review. I really do appreciate it. I just don't get the feeling it's absolutely minted and loaded. So I get the feeling money's a bit tight. You don't want to be completely, I don't get the feeling this is a hedged super duper I just don't, I can see money's a bit tight. So which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to be a value shopper. Throw in a 5035, 5035 paddock and your calendar. They are bargains. You get one of those for low 20s, in the 20s. 5196, definitely. Or maybe a Breguet dress watch. Add one of those. Maybe, but I definitely get the 5035. I think that's a great watch. And it'd be nice to have two paddocks. Then you definitely, it would definitely pop. So that's my advice there. Definitely give that watch to your dad. Don't waste any more time. Get it for him. The sterling, get rid of that. Yeah, that's kind of, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. So there you go. That's my advice. I think that's what I would do if I were you. Guys, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Don't be afraid to put some comments down below. And guys, I will see you in the next one. Remember, I can't survive on Google Ads. I need paid reviews to keep me on the YouTube. Without this assistance, it makes it very hard for me to survive. Patreon is another way you can help me. You could donate $1 a month. It just helps me make content, and it helps me survive. Okay, guys, I will see you in the next one. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, and who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW. Hey guys, ArchieLuxury. Who do I recommend for watches in Brisbane and Sydney? Vintage Watch Co. That's correct. Vintage Watch Co. in Brisbane Arcade in Brisbane and the Strand Arcade in Sydney. Vintage Watch Co. Brisbane and Sydney. Ronnie, I've known him since the late 90s. Ronnie is a top bloke. Luke is a great guy. Vintage Watch Co. That is who I recommend in Australia. Check out Vintage Watch Co. and the guys' amazing range of watches. They also do service and repairs. Vintage Watch Co. That is where the pontiff goes. You know, some of my paddocks came from Vintage Watch Co. That's right, guys. Vintage Watch Co.